Hey, this is your week 12 follow-up. Looking forward to after spring break. And just to summarize what we all talked about last night, because I know there's a lot going on in all of our lives, and I know that the changes that we've chatted about in this class are challenging for various reasons. So, just to remind that, we are doing, when I go back and look at like week 9, these were some of the better lectures that from Maximilian for section 9, and 10. And these are really great and good to do if you haven't, because they will help you do the work for the develop it. Okay, so starting back here, but it was after this, and that's why I was just kind of putting that stake in the ground so that we're clear about that. Then after that, starting in week 10, and this is what I changed today. I had previously, and you could still do this, okay, is work through section 11, which is his routing. And this is where, after our discussion through chat and our just discussion last night, that, I've broken down that you could either do this one, and this is, or you can do part 1 of the coding garden. And so, like, I've broken this into 3 parts over 3 weeks. I'm going to do the same thing with the coding garden. It's not exactly one for one as far as the content time, but it was already something we agreed on, and I think it still works. It's one of those, there's very different topics, but still. So you can do that series of either section 11 over these weeks or that coding garden, whichever you choose. And then for weeks, I've done 3 of these looking forward. And this is the concept we talked about last night, which is you could go ahead and do section 12, which in this case is adding the routing to the burger builder. Or you could go find some content related to routing. One suggestion I looked at this morning, and it seemed pretty good, which was watching Travis C. Media do the bar. And then remember, this is a code along experience is building an expense tracker. So I've been into this so far enough to where I feel like, yep, that's good content. So you can either, so you have 3 choices. Shouldn't have got off that. So starting in here, you can either do the section from the Udemy course, find your own content with at least an hour, or watch the one that I've given as a suggestion. And by the way, if you find content for routing, now in this case for those, and I think it's mostly Oscar, but somebody else who may have done section 11. This is a little bit of a redo, so I'm also open to that. If you have other things that you're like, I really want to go look at these topics, then that just reach out to me and we can chat about that. So then on week 14, moving forward, this is where form and form validation. You can go find an hour of content. I did find at least one example, or you can do section 13 on the Udemy course. Okay, so I've done this also for week 15, and I'm going to kind of at this point wait to see how well some of this other works so we can have a chat about it. So I went ahead though and looked at week 15, and this is where looking at week 14, section 14 in week 15 is his Redux. And then if you want to find content on Redux, I haven't found anything yet. Redux slash hooks, because it's just Redux is the larger concept to understand that. So anyway, that's what I have. Now, the only other thing two things I wanted to say as a reminder, right? So after we get back from break, that night we're all going to demonstrate what we've done. If you have, hopefully you have something to show for taking your Dev 0. And again, I'm not going to go over this because we did this, and I'm hoping that if you have any questions, you reach out to me so that you need to implement this. And again, this seems pretty doable given what we've gone over. So that's what we'll do that night. Now, there is a lecture also associated with that night that we're back. So I'm just kind of giving you the heads up there, the one I'd already talked about. And then moving forward weeks after, I'm gonna have a good let's I'm hoping we have enough time. We'll see how this night after we get back goes about what we want to work on towards the learn togethers, and maybe that's continuing the emoji things that we are continuing with that emoji search app, and then integrating the pieces based on our collective agreement about what those things are based on the lectures that we're doing. Okay. So that's a redux, wrong word. It's a kind of a reminder, just in status for where we're at. I did move the link to Zoom down closer to where we're going to be for next week. Again, over spring break, if you have anything you want to talk to me about, please reach out. I will find time to connect with you. So I will be working on my own project and my house projects as well. But I would enjoy having a conversation with anybody that wants to chat about stuff. And if you just want to have a social time, just if we want to have a little coffee shop, I'm open to that too. All right, have a wonderful spring break. I'll talk to you soon.